Welcome to Ideon Tech Talks this morning. My name is Mia Rolf. I'm the CEO of Ideon Science Park. And Ideon Science Park is a part of a group called Sweden ICT. It's the big 6 science parks in Sweden working with IoT and digital solutions within the ICT area. And together we cover over 2,400 companies in the area. And ICT, for those who haven't heard that before, that's information and communication technology. And the Tech Talks is where we have a small talk about technology actually being developed here at Ideon Science Park. And with me today, I have Markus Knigin, who is the head of secure positioning at Sony. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Mia. Sorry, secure provisioning.
Secure provisioning. Okay, sorry about that.
No,
so it's good that you know where you're from. And let's start with you. What's your story? Who are you?
Right. So yeah, I've only been in Sony for a little bit more than a year now. So in those terms, I'm quite new. I come from Skåne area, from Aarhus, and have a quite vast experience from the telecommunication and IT sector, both in large companies but also startup companies. And I see that like my strive, my way of going forward is to use the technology. How can that improve our daily lives? Well, what can we use it for, rather than we adapting to what the technology does? And that's a little bit what I'm taking with me into to Sony, I think, what's valuable there.
So both into a large company and the entrepreneurial small startup company.
Correct, yeah.
That's great. And we're here today to talk about the technology that Creative is developing. And where, if you just start with describing where in the Sony organization this technology or organization is placed.
Right. So yeah, Sony in Lund, as most people know, there is a big office there and has been for quite some time. And that consists of, I would say, 4 main areas. It's partially mobile software development. It's also a big R&D center, which is focusing on 4G, 5G, and even 6G and IoT solutions. There is a design center. And then there is the 4th leg, which I belong to, or the product division that I belong to, is a part of, which is new business creation related to network services. And there is an IoT, let's say, umbrella that is covering that area.
Super exciting. And that's where you actually try to create new business. And so there are different legs in this new business area too.
Yes, we can say that IoT is tremendously growing in the world, like devices being connected and more and more let's say values coming out of that. And the reason for that is to help us in our daily lives, making decisions quicker, helping us monitor things, whatever that could be, and also take action quicker, as we can see what's happening on this side of the world, what's going on with the IoT device in another part of the world, for instance. And that's a little bit what we have as an umbrella function. There are other products in this area. It's like products related to logistics, facility management, and health and wellness. And Creative started as a product related to access management.
And that's why you have something with you here.
Exactly. So what I have here is an electronic lock that you can't use what we normally have like a key for, but this is open. Most people know this when they come to the office, they have their key card and so forth to get into the door. So this is a solution that we started off developing related to electronic locks, is an over-the-air capable access management solution. And Creative is the foundation of Creative is enabling IoT products or the provisioning of credentials to IoT products in a secure way. And what is not better than starting with access, because it's important that's secure.
And when you say provisioning, that's actually when you give out the permission to access something, right?
Exactly.
How does that work?
In this specific case, it is. So what we have here to do this in a way that we have developed, that you shouldn't have to rely on a physical place. This should be able to be done on the go in the organization that you're working with, and I will come to some kind of benefits around that. But the basic is that you have an admin system that can be monitored and handled from a mobile phone, like this one. The user also has a mobile phone that has an app on it as well, and you get login and so forth.
Yes.
And then the credentials can be sent to the mobile phone. You have your key card. You provision the key card, like you send the access to the key card that you have here, and all of a sudden now I have access to the lock, and I can open it.
I heard that.
Like this. Yeah. So it's blinking green and beeping, right?
But can anyone have the app and provision anyone to do this, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, there are certain layers of giving access and being able to receive access, of course, and there is an administrator and a master administrator that has to be able to give you access, and you can just log in and collect the access that has to be sent to you. So there's
you have to be nice, probably, or in the right position, right?
So and the value with this that we saw from start is specifically within healthcare sector, and if we take and in hospitals where you have drug cabinets, and it's especially important that you keep those under control. There can't be drug losses or any theft there. So with the implementation of our system there, we can help those hospitals arrange for access credentials being sent to people, if it's ordinary staff or temporary staff that is coming and going.
So you can actually schedule the provision in different, according to the work schedule, or
exactly. And being able then also to follow up on when has the door or the cabinet being opened and locked and so forth. And in most cases, we have actually the drug losses has been eradicated to zero. So that's a tremendous.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, not only from a financial point of view, but also from a security standpoint.
Of course. Yeah. And not being able to access when you're not at work or when you're off hours, that's truly important in that cases. And I guess there are more use cases that this could be.
So with this was the start for the system, and the system is a cloud-based. It's purely software, so we don't have any hardware related to it. So we can scale upon what we have and then generate values into different kinds of areas. So we built upon that and looked a little bit further, a little bit more in depth into the security of IoT devices.
Right, and now we're coming into the technology part.
And also what value can we bring into there? So with our research and the input we got from the market, we saw that there was a need for keeping security level a little bit higher on IoT devices, and especially connected devices. I say connected device, IoT devices. It's the same thing here. Just so we know.
It's good that he explained that to me. So,
IoT devices, most people know that, but Internet of Things, it's baseline there is that's a device that has a connection to the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we saw there anyway was a need for some kind of security. Now there is no standard in this area. There is no let's say general setup for what the baseline should be and so forth yet.
Isn't that a problem?
It definitely is.
How could you develop something if you don't know the standard? So
right.
So you're actually creating this industry as you go with your development.
Well, we see that there is there is an initiative called IoT Safe. And this is many operators that have come together and see that we need to have like some kind of security in the way we communicate with these IoT devices, how we collect and send data and updates and so forth, and we have to come to some kind of baseline there together. Now this IoT safe standard is under development, so it's not ready yet, but that's a good start. And the way that they are running the communication within that let's say standard is with the SIM card on the IoT device.
Okay.
And now not all IoT devices do have a SIM card.
No, that's a problem.
So what we did instead is looking how can we set up this secure communication and secure kind of a storage function working directly with the IoT device, and then we have decided to put that effort into communicating with something that's called the secure element on the hardware on the IoT device.
Wow, so this actually going one step further into the hardware and the security.
Yes, exactly.
Level actually.
Yes, I mean that's what we're hoping for, and in many industries that it's needed and it's going to be mandatory. It's already started to be that. And we can take example like in the automotive industry, cars are being connected to the internet. It would be tremendously bad if someone would make a breach or hack into a car and then put the braking system out of function. Right?
Still, we know people actually in the park trying to do that and then trying to block it. So that's an important security area.
Yes.
That you need to secure on a deeper level than today, I think. So, and that's where you're going with this, amongst other places, right? So
right.
So automotive industry, but let me ask. So you say you can connect it to the hardware, and you want to come in also already. We've talked about this before in the manufacturing phase or like early stage of developing the hardware, right?
True.
But you could add this afterwards. Right?
Well,
talk a little bit about that.
Right. So, I mean, nothing is more secure than the weakest link. We can come to that conclusion. And even if we have secured something, and I'll start with just explaining the secure element. That's like a safe place. It's like the vault on the IoT device.
Wow.
And also has a little bit of a computer inside of it as well that can do some calculations and process data. So, but within that secure element, that vault, we can then store very critical information that should be secured in relation to, for instance, now we can put credit card information on the mobile phone. It needs to be secured. That's a way of doing that. It could be other kinds of data as well. But so what we've seen there is that keeping an even higher level of security, not only communicating well with the device, but also make sure that the device itself, the integrity of the device can't be tampered with. So there are main three things that we're looking at when it comes to keeping a IoT device secured. It's integrity, authenticity, and then confidentiality. So the integrity is that it should be tamper-proof. Now we have that secure element. If we do put information in there, it's tamper-proof. Right. But on the way, pushing that information to the secure element, there could be someone listening in or taking like hold of that information, copying it, stuff like that. So that connection also needs to be secured, and that's another part we're looking at.
Is that you compared it to something that we all know about that came already in the 90s, the VPN tunnels?
Exactly. So when
even I know what that is. So it's a secure tunnel of information.
It's a secure tunnel, and in order to set up that secure tunnel from the beginning, we need to know some secret keys and so forth that this secure element is the correct one. It's correct device, because we don't know essentially what we're communicating with. If we're sitting in Lund and the IoT device is in Tokyo, Japan, for instance, then we need to be very, very secure ourselves that is actually the correct device. And you can take, let's say, in hospital environment.
Now it sounded like Tokyo is the most dangerous place in the world, but that's not what you meant.
That's not.
I just want to say that.
That's just that was taking that first in mind, because the head office of Sony is in Tokyo. But what I meant is that we can't see the device. It's somewhere else in the world. So the communication to the device is also very important. And to have this as secure from start, with putting information, securing the connection to the device from start, we need to know some very critical identification details that is already put in the manufacturing stage.
Wow.
And we have a process of doing that, and that's important for us then to come in already on the manufacturing stage. Now, we could come in the part afterwards, when those products like the secure element is put into the actual device and put together and sent out. But we need to know that we want to know that information then, in order to put up the whole value chain of security from start.
So you're saying it's a more perfect world if you get into the manufacturing stage. But the information that you need could be picked out and
yes
inserted in your technology afterwards.
It could be afterwards as well. Absolutely.
So what you need is other companies developing IoT products that would put this into the process early on, right?
But that's a good point you're coming into there. I mean, we have been in Quotive, we have been focusing on the niche of securing IoT devices, both from a connection point to the IoT device, but also the storage perspective. And we have, as I mentioned, a software product, but it's no good if we don't have anything to connect it to. So, so that's why we are working with business to business. So we are allying with partners in this area. Manufacturers of IoT devices or IoT device platforms and other companies that see that this level of security, this kind of security, could be of value for them, either in their own business and own manufacturing, or together as a value add-on or built into the system when they are offering their products to the market.
As a service. So there are two ways to connect to you. That's interesting. And if you want to know more about how to check this up, if this security is something for you, if you're developing IoT stuff, we will provide you with the email address of Markus, right? So
absolutely,
it's going to be in the chat below.
Absolutely.
But moving on then, so this is broader use area than the SIM card security.
Yes.
And you mentioned something about mobile payment. Why is that?
I took that
special?
I took that as an example, and we said it's a broader area than IoT safe. Like, we are compliant with when the IoT safe standard is coming, we will be compliant with that. That we'll be able to do that. So we can facilitate both that, let's say, kind of setup, but also with those devices that do have a secure element embedded on the actual hardware that are only Wi-Fi connected. And it could be, for instance, in healthcare, when we have surgical machines that might only have connections within that specific area, and other kinds of devices we'll see. But in I would say in most cases where we see a need here is in areas where we have devices that are rarely seen or monitored by a physical person ever. And that could be, for instance, within the energy sector. And we have energy grids out in the wilderness, so to speak, but out in the woods. Maybe not many people go there.
Or Denmark.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you still need to monitor these, because you need to get information that everything is good and ready to go. And if
nobody could like try to hack it and tamper it.
If someone would tamper with those kinds of setup, and you can shut down the electricity somewhere, we can only imagine how
So it's actually a society security thing. This, if you think of it that way.
Yeah. And then we have looked at, okay, so what kind of information is then important in those kinds of devices? And then I'm taking it one further step now from what we discussed. So what kind of information is good to often have secure that this is the correct one? This is good that we update this, and that's the certificate of the device. And the certificate of the device, you can see that as the passport of the device, like for us people, passport for us people, which identify us and make sure like that's what we have set as a standard for a correct identification, right? And the certificate for the device is the same thing there. Then we know that if that certificate is validated, then we know that's the device we're talking to, that we want to talk to.
Individual device.
It's the certificate for an individual device. Exactly.
Okay.
So and keeping the identity updated on a device is today at least the most known secure way of actually securing one of those IoT devices.
That's a lot of data, a lot of products out there. So this would take a large amount of data gathering and controlling too. So is that included in this service?
So I mean, what we are doing is that we are enabling the secure connection to the device, and also enabling these updates of the certificates. So we keep those certificates updated and valid more frequently than maybe many do today.
Oh, we talked about that. Yes.
Yeah, but we as Crowdtive, as the service, don't handle or store the data as such. And, so from a
the owner of the device or the service, they control
their own data,
and they could update in more frequently. What is a normal frequency today, would you say?
Well, some devices, now I'm going to like devices that you have in your home, even though that's not within the scope maybe for our service, but just as a relation. Let's say a web surveillance camera for your home that gets a certificate from, because all these devices do have certificate, and they get the certificate from manufacturing, but it's the validity time is maybe put to 10 or 20 years, so it's never updated.
Never. That's a long frequency. Okay.
And then you get a password to it, of course, because you need to secure it in some shape or form. And you log into that, and you can see your home area some way. Right? So you can say, well, nothing, no harm can be done there, right?
Exactly.
But on the contrary, yes, it can be, because that camera is then connected to the network that you have. And if I want to do harm to, let's say, a company now where this camera is set up, and I can take a real example from real life. I don't remember the company name, but they had a fish tank in the office, in the entry hall in the office. And there was a sensor in the fish tank, a temperature sensor that was connected, like an IoT device, the temperature sensor.
For the fish safety?
For the fish tank. So you could from home log into probably an app and see what's the temperature in the fish tank.
Yeah. Because that's something you'd really want to do when you're at home.
But by not securing the connection and not securing that device itself, someone hacked in via that temperature sensor, got access to the network in the company, and then could from there go into servers and make very much harm.
Scary. This is scary. Because and we have heard reports that this year, 2020, from April, the cyber attacks actually increased by 70%. So this is more and more usual, and we have to sort of try to block it as much as we can.
Right. It has to be built into the mindset of IoT manufacturers or IoT product manufacturers from start, already on the circuit level, for those who build the circuits that an IoT device consists of, but also system owners that provide services in this area. So those are the ones that we are connecting with and see how we can help from that perspective.
But so the certificate and the deeper understanding of the three different security parts of the technology is important. But if you look to the future, what do you see? What trends do you see if you look into the future?
Yeah, so I mean, there is so many things that we see where IoT can help us in our daily lives, where human interaction is maybe not necessary for us to live a normal life or have an efficient way of handling things. And in the healthcare sector, for instance, we can see that which already exists today. If there is a surgery going on in Lund, there can be surgical machines being connected to the internet where a very skilled surgeon in another part of the world can actually perform that surgery.
That's like boom. That's like where we become totally global.
Right.
Without traveling. It's so super cool.
Yeah. And to our daily lives at home, if you have, for instance, diabetes, there are products in development now where you can have them on you, and they monitor your insulin level and make an alarm if something goes bad, and that could also be monitored maybe from your physician in another part of the city or another part of the world.
Now we do have really great surgeons here, but there could be more specialized ones.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how it is. And we also look at other areas like in the logistics area where we are able to track cargo and see the temperature for temperature sensitive cargo coming in. And also now in I mean, the way we're working now, the way we're living now, social distancing is becoming more and more important. That we're gonna stick to that for the future, I think, as well. And in facility management areas where you need to keep track of maybe how many people are in the meeting rooms, how many people are in the office overall. Do you have an office space available where you can keep distance?
So you can actually control, how many people that could enter a certain part of the building due to safety or COVID-19 safety regulations, for instance. That could be
it could be. I mean, I don't want to put in that you want to control it and stop someone, but at least you can get the data.
Now I have a great use for personal use. So if my teenager comes home after 1 o'clock in the night, the door is closed. No, just kidding.
They have to stay in the garage.
Yeah, they have to stay in the garage. No, I was just kidding. We're just looking at if we have to wrap it up here. It's been half an hour soon. Do we have any questions from the audience? No? Crystal clear? I mean, that's the third time we have a crystal clear tech talk where no questions asked. But you could always mail Markus if you want to know.
Absolutely. And I'm on LinkedIn and just look me up there. I'm the only one with my name, so to say.
Can we just say, can I ask you, because you've been around here in the Sony organization for a while too. What's the most important thing with science park around you with different innovation and developers and competences? What would you say that your team is utilizing most?
Yeah, no, what I saw when I came in is that we have a lot of colleagues, people that know each other in different business areas here. So there's a lot of emailing, calling back and forth to see, is this, I'm thinking like this, could this be interesting? Do you have another idea? Could we do something together? That kind of collaboration, and of course need as well. I mean, a lot of companies and a lot of initiatives within larger companies that are developing products and services related to IoT. And maybe the security aspect of it is something that has been a little bit lower on the agenda, or that you don't have the knowledge within. Then we can help out there as well, and we're happy to elaborate and just have
even with small companies or inventors, they could contact you.
Absolutely. I mean, we're happy to discuss that. That could help us as well.
Thank you. I think that's a wrap up from here, and I hope that you follow us for the next Tech Talk. And we say thank you to Markus and to
Thank you very
Sony
much.
for being a great organization in the park. And you know where to find us.